Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another episode of CS News. I really enjoyed my break this weekend, but also my voice is still kind of gone, so I'm kind of recovering my voice. I actually did get a little sick this past weekend. So slowly but surely, guys, I will have my voice back and I'll be able to talk more strongly. But for this episode, please bear with me. First off, I do want to say congratulations to Mojo on PC. At the time of this video, guys, he is nearing or probably has achieved 1 million subscribers for his CSGO channel. Also, some big news coming soon for Mojo, guys. Stay tuned for tomorrow's episode for that. He's been doing some very cool products on the side, and he just hit 1 million subscribers today, so congrats to him. Also, I want to give you guys a big old weekend recap of all the tournaments this past weekend. We had so many tournaments going on the same days. We had Northern Arena, iBuyPower Masters, ROG tournament, and also WSG, and other tournaments like the CIS Minor, all in one weekend. Last weekend was an amazing weekend for CSGO. So first off, guys, Northern Arena Championships, it came down to G2 and Optic Gaming in the championship there. They beat out teams Envious. G2 actually swept Envious, and then we had Optic Gaming beat out Heroic in a close best-of-3 series to make it a G2 Optic final, and actually was Optic Gaming who won their first title in 6 months as they actually beat G2 after losing a close map 1 16-14. They beat them and reverse swept them 2-1 in that series, and they took their first title since the old Shazam team there 6 months ago. So congrats to Optic Gaming. They took your $20,000 grand prize from Northern Arena Championships. Also moving on, we had the iBuyPower Masters tournament. iBuyPower Masters tournament, arguably a more important tournament here because the top 4 teams here qualified for IEM Oakland, which starts tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Going to be a very fun tournament to watch there. But again, top 4 for iBuyPower Masters, very important here. And it was Ty Lue who beat out Echo Fox. So Echo Fox will not be at IEM Oakland. And arguably, that was going to be their biggest tournament left until the major if they actually do manage to somehow qualify for that in the American minor. So Ty Lue grabbed their spot. We also had FaZe Clan grab their spot after a close series with Renegades. Yes, Renegades, an Australian team who almost qualified, but FaZe Clan grabbed that spot. And no surprise, our other 2 teams will be Immortals and Cloud9, who went on to actually go face off in the grand final of iBuyPower Masters, guys. And very surprisingly, I guess not very surprisingly, because these 2 teams played each other so close throughout the summer, it was actually Immortals who took down Cloud9 2-1 in this best-of-3 series, and kind of a close series at that, because both teams really dominated their map choices, and it came down to map 3 on Mirage, which you would assume because Cloud9 2 weeks ago was actually beating teams like SK on Mirage quite well. It was actually Immortals who took this map 16-12 and the title here. And our last 2 tournament recaps from this weekend, guys. First off, we had the ROG Asian tournament, which was won by the Mongols. If you guys don't know, the only Mongolian team on the map right now, actually a recognizable name all the way back from MLG Columbus. This is the same lineup that actual Splice Gaming replaced in MLG Columbus because the Mongols had visa issues and they couldn't show up for that qualifier versus, I believe it was Vex Gaming, and Splice took them down and actually won 0 games in MLG Columbus. This is the same lineup here, guys, and they actually took their first title in a long time. They won ROG Masters over Dreamscape. They swept them 2-0 in the finals there. Even more importantly, we are slowly but surely getting our E-League qualifying teams ready. We have every team now except for the American minor, which is actually lagging behind. They don't start till December 6th or 3 weeks away. So the American minor will be our last E-League qualifying teams here. We have finalized 2 more teams from the CIS region, and that will be both teams. I believe it's going to be Team All In, and they actually beat Team Spirit in the championship. So Team Spirit and Team All In will join us in our E-League qualifying matches, guys. They are CIS teams, so definitely not going to be favored to actually qualify for the major, but it was actually All In who beat Team Spirit 2-0 in the finals here for the CIS minor. A really big surprise here, and they were actually led. Team All In has Chopper, one of the former Anox players. He actually led them in frags and had a really good KD, almost a 2.0 KD in this final series. So also notable news, teams like Tengree didn't even make it out of groups here at the CIS minor. So again, we had a lot of surprises going in the CIS minor. A lot of teams didn't make the CIS minor because they were upset, and now we have more upsets going on the CIS region as Team Tengree didn't even qualify out of group stages. But it will be Team All In and also Team Spirit joining us at the offline qualifier, guys, and that was in CIS news. And then yet again, guys, we had ESL Pro League finals a couple weeks ago where Thorn made some very rude remarks, which may be gone a little bit past what we expected from Thorn about Skadoodle. Many of you guys saw the tweets on screen right now, which many people thought, especially his teammates Shroud and Stewie came out on Twitter as well, thought they were way too far. And yet again, we see this, guys, where players come out against Analysts. This time it was Northern Arena who was chipping away at G2's very own Smithzz. Now we all know, if we're gonna break it down evenly here, guys, we all know Smithzz has been the struggling player for the G2 lineup, but even so, if he is struggling, the team itself has not been itself for the last couple of months. We take it all the way back to July. That was really when their downfall started. But yes, it has been Smithzz who, especially these past few weeks, and especially at Northern Arena as well, even though they got second place, he was the player lagging behind on that scoreboard the entire time. Now, that's not the only point to make here as well. In this match where they were making fun of him, where the rude remarks actually took place, he did do quite terribly. But now it's reached a point where it may be a bit too far. What's the breaking point between what Analysts can can say and what they shouldn't be saying at all. And I think the real problem here is, you hear about things like Thorn and people respect him for how savage he is, and now you have these lower tier analysts. We consider these guys, I've heard about Dust before. That was one of the analyst names. He goes by the name of Dust, and also another one by the name of Van Silly. I've never heard about this guy. It now goes to show that if you have bigger analysts like Thorn, your top tier analysts, if you had tiered analysts, if that's a thing, your more popular analysts and commentators making rude remarks about players, it then slowly becomes a more popular trend and more people begin to do it. So now we have Dust and Van Silly at Northern Arena. Even though G2 got second place here, Smithzz did have some embarrassing plays, and they said things like this about him on live air, on live stream as well, which might have been too far. My own personal opinion though, we'll listen to it first.
That's here for G2. I mean, we can see that Body had a very strong showing as well as Scream. And I mean, it might be argued that Smithzz was about as effective as voting for Harambe last Tuesday, and it shows. It shows right here.
Wow, just super coordinated. Looking to do some damage. Oh my God.
Yuli noob!
Yo, not flying.
So I don't want to talk too much about this in the future, guys, but I want to say my own take on this is personally, if a player is personally ridiculed by an analyst or a commentator, they should learn to accept that. If they're going to play a bad game, learn and maybe expect that kind of criticism. But when it goes past the point of criticism and goes to personal ridicule, talking about personal looks, or can actually affect the mentality of that player, or goes way too far, as to some of Thorn's tweets with Skadoodle, I think some of those were way too far and really, drew the line and went past that line by a ways. And these personal issues, guys, at Northern Arena, I don't think it was that bad, but you have to feel it for G2 Smithzz. He's been targeted this last week, and now to have not just one, but several analysts, singling him out, you have to feel for him. How does that make him feel personally when he goes off stage? It's got to be a killer emotionally, so I think there needs to be a line drawn, by the community. It's only up to us, because these analysts, all these guys are not going to learn the rules by themselves. The community has to strike down these lines. We have people like Taz, Fallen, and Rain as well. Several other pro players come out and say this was just way too far, and now it comes to the point where analysts are attacking players, and players are now attacking analysts for not knowing the game when that's actually their job. So it comes to the point where now it's kind of been a big fight. I don't know what side to take in this issue, guys, but we need to somehow delegate what is right and what is wrong. And then some quick roster changes for all of you guys, roster updates for all of you. This was announced a couple days ago. Jkaem is apparently, according to Esports, not only on the inactive roster for FaZe Clan, but is actually out of the organization. Why I bring this up is to all of you FaZe Clan fans out there who thought they brought back Kiyoshima because he outperformed Jkaem maybe in practice or maybe on some events where they wanted to take a risk on him and maybe he was the solution to all their problems. He is certainly not, as you guys have seen the recent performances, although they have qualified for some events, including IEM Oakland in the past. Kiyoshima was not brought back on because he outperformed Jkaem, but apparently according to Esports, Jkaem is out of the organization, which means his contract was either one bought out or his contract did end. So we can expect one of two things, guys, possibly Jkaem to be signed to a new team very soon, as well as, for the future, Jkaem was actually not the problem here. And why FaZe Clan probably replaced him was because they did not want to invest in another player and buy out another contract. As many of you guys know, FaZe Clan kind of notorious for their dollars spent on all of their players. One of the highest valued rosters in all of CSGO, and for that price comparison per dollar, probably the worst team in CSGO right now, considering how much hundreds of thousands of dollars they have invested in their roster. Also, another roster change comes to a Swedish team, Epsilon, who's been performing very well as of late with this 5-man roster on screen, which has been solidified as they have added Barbarr to their roster. He was a trial member for the longest time. Last couple months, guys, he actually went to several events and performed very well for this team, or at least the team did very well. ESWC, a playoff finish there, top 16 or top half finish there, and also in the PGL European minor, I believe they had a third, fourth place finish, which was not expected because Disco Dopeland went to Fnatic, so they did very, very well with Barbarr in the lineup. He is now an official 5th member for Epsilon Esports, guys. Expect a lot of this team in the future. If Drake and Rez can stay on the roster, I like Epsilon's chances in the future for some really cool events. Some very important news for any of you Space Soldiers or Turkish fans out there. Yes, apparently Tugux, their in-game leader for Space Soldiers, has left the roster. Now, he announced late last night some special news will be coming soon. We actually had this very predictable. I didn't want to announce it beforehand, though, that he's actually leaving the Space Soldiers roster. He announced also this morning, a couple hours later, that he indeed was leaving the roster. Now, who will be signed to next? I'm not really sure, but you can assume, one of the top Turkish teams, if not the #1 Turkish team. They beat teams, especially recently. They could have done way better at ESWC, but still they beat teams like LDLC, Alt Attacks, Gambit Gaming. They beat them in a best of 3. Certainly a good lineup here, and he was in-game leader for them, so give him a little leeway, and a very decent player there for Space Soldiers. So I expect him to be signed very soon. Who will be signed to, we have no idea, but yes, that was in good news according to him. He has now left that roster, so Space Soldiers is without Tugux. Also, quick shout out to my sponsor, guys, TradeSkinsFast.com. If you guys have any lousy skins you can't trade anywhere else, use TradeSkinsFast.com. I only have like about a week and a half left with this sponsor, guys, so show them some love. Thank you, Scooby, and thank you to my sponsor. As always, guys, that's going to do it for today's episode of CS News. Hope you guys all enjoyed, and sorry for my voice being pretty bad today, but I really have been enjoying being back and actually researching all these stories, and I do plan on being back for live streaming and also more CS News episodes this week as well. As we head into Thanksgiving break, I'm going to bring my computer home, and I'll be doing a lot more videos as well for all of you guys, and sorry about the bad hair. I got a lot of problems in life right now, but thank you guys for all watching. Hope you guys all enjoyed. I'll see you guys all tomorrow with another live stream and CS News episode. As always, live, love, laugh. My name is Jkaem. I like you. Goodbye.